And yo, let's go! We in here on a Monday. June is here. We are 89 days? We're 89 days from Alabama pimp walking down there to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Down there in Florida. We're rocking and rolling right now. Hottest morning show in these streets. We got Bama Vision. Get your pancake. Get your coffee. Get your breakfast pastry. Get what you got to get. We're hitting you right here with all the Bama football conversation, 9 a.m. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, rocking with you. But the better man is the pilot on the ones and twos behind the scenes, flying the plane, celebrating the birthday. Yes, celebrating the birthday, Herbo. Herb been a Ragsdale. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for the well wishes. I'll put up a couple real quick. Sorry. What's up, Kat? Rodg, the better looking Ragsdale, but not the better Ragsdale. And Jay Walker, I want to say I appreciate y'all real quick. And Stephen M., I don't even know if I had a quick story for you. I don't even know if you remember this. But Rodg and I, we have our podcast. And Title Towel, who you'll be talking about in just a minute. I'll put their thing up there. I've been getting stuff from him, and he and I have been talking back and forth, and he just kind of casually mentioned, I know Stephen M. You want me to ask him about being on your show? And I was like, of course. Why is this a question? And he did it, and you said yes, man, and it has been a blessing to us ever since that moment. So, man, I wanted to take a minute to say thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity to help out here on Bama Vision as well. But, man, we've always appreciated you for that.
Absolutely. So it's been fantastic. Happy birthday, man. Hey, you are going to enjoy this. But right now, we're going to try to enjoy flying this plane. So, yes, Bama Nation, absolutely. Bama Nation, get into the comment section. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. Get crazy in the chat line. We're taking your comments. We're taking your questions at the end of the show. Like I said, 89 days away until we see the Crimson Tide go all the way down to Tallahassee, Florida to take on Florida State to open the 2025 college football season in the fall. We got quite a few topics to discuss here. We're going to look at number one, Ryan Williams. At 18 years old now, is he the next Alabama wide receiver to join DeVonta Smith in terms of winning the Heisman Trophy? I know a lot of Bama fans will say, let's not talk about Heisman right now, but we got to discuss it, especially when you're seeing Smitty and Ryan Williams work out together. So that's a conversation. We'll get into a little bit of Dijon Lee talk. Freshman five-star defensive back. Is he needed to start in order for the Bama defensive backfield to be extremely elite this season? We'll get into that. And then we'll also talk about, there's been so much conversation when you look at Ryan Grubb at Alabama, but the biggest conversation piece is, does this bring stability to Kalen DeBoer? Not many people are broaching that part of the conversation, so we'll get to that as well. Once again, hit that like and subscribe button. Y'all see that thing on the wall right there, the title towel, whitwillsports.com. Get you a title towel today. This kicks off the winning mentality, the winning mindset of every Alabama fan. So you want to have 100,000 of these waving, twirling, throwing them up, going wild inside Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Get you a title towel. Go to whitwillsports.com. If you use the promo code STANDARD, get your nice little discount there, courtesy of your favorite Bama network, the Bama Standard. Lavelle Wilson, Thomas Whitaker, two outstanding guys. Great product right there. Get your title towel today. But right now, we transition topic number one here, Herb, of the conversation. We look at Ryan Williams, right, who had an incredible freshman year at 17 years old. He was doing things at 17 that you shouldn't be doing out there on the football field. Like the amount of dominance he had early last season was mind-boggling, right? You look back at last season, the Georgia game really put him on the map. He was just toying with the souls of these Georgia defensive backs en route to 100-plus yard performance, multiple touchdowns, just crazy performance, right? And Ryan ends the season with 48 catches, 865 yards, and 8 touchdowns. This is the same Ryan Williams of whom he reclassified from the 2025 class to the 2024 class. He, former 2-time Mr. Football in the state of Alabama, just did a lot coming from the Mobile area, Saraland High School. So here he is entering year 2. You and I, Herb, have already talked about he's not going to have that sophomore slump just due to all the talent that's around him and who he's got, at that quarterback position led by Ty Simpson. But a bigger question now is he the next wide receiver when you look at Alabama football to win the Heisman Trophy? And Ryan, who is on the cover of the EA Sports College Football 26 video game that comes out on July 10th. I know, Herb, you're going to get your hands on the game. I'm going to try to. Will I succeed? Who knows? But I know, Herb, you are going to do right by both of us in trying to get your hands on a copy of this EA Sports College Football 26 game right here with Ryan Williams on the cover. And when Overtime had an interview with Williams, they asked him, what are your biggest goals for the upcoming season? And Hollywood just goes, look, I'm trying to win the Heisman, and I'm trying to win a national championship. And that same question was directed to the, at this point, lone wide receiver in Alabama history to win the Heisman, DeVonta Smith. And the question to Smitty was, hey, of the current receivers in college football right now, who do you think is next to win the Heisman in terms of Alabama after you? DeVonta Smith goes, hey, Ryan Williams. I mean, didn't hold back. Smitty didn't hold back. Smitty was like, look, man, it's Ryan Williams. I mean, this guy talented. This guy, excellent receiver. This guy's got all the tools. He's got all the potential in the world. It's getting harder for receivers to win the Heisman now, so he's got to work on it. But he's got the tools. He's got the traits. He's got everything needed to get this done. So you've got DeVonta Smith vouching for Ryan Williams. You got Ryan feeling like he will be the next one in terms of Alabama football to win the Heisman at that wide receiver position. And this is good because this is a healthy conversation. I understand for a lot of Bama fans, this is way too early, right? Can we just talk about how the team will improve, how the team will be better, how the team will get from point A to point B? But we all know, Herbo, hot topics, you got to touch on them, right? And when you have a Ryan Williams saying that this is my aspiration, this is my goal, this is something I'm trying to accomplish, win the Heisman. And then you have DeVonta Smith, of whom he's working out with Ryan Williams this offseason. So he is seeing the hard work that this young man is putting in, but he's also seeing Williams pull up on him and go, Smitty, hey, you were dope at Alabama. You were one of the greatest to ever do it. Statistically, you are the greatest to ever do it, right? You all-time leader for career receptions in Alabama. You all-time career leader in receiving yards for Alabama. You all-time career leader for touchdown receptions in Alabama. And I mean, you put up a single season in 2020 that was just massive. 117 catches, 1,856 yards receiving, 23 touchdowns to win the Heisman. Smitty, teach me, what made you that great? Show me some things that I can put into my game that will make me dynamic in the 2025 campaign this upcoming fall. So Ryan understands what he brings to the table, but to go to DeVonta Smith and ask, hey, fine-tune me a bit more. I remember, Herb, you mentioned it takes some humility to do that. It takes some self-awareness to do that, to go to a legend and say, hey, I know I'm good, but I know that you can provide me with some things to make me even better. Hey, teach me what you know. And DeVonta Smith having that mentality of teaching the young star here some other things for him to add to his repertoire, to his game, to make him shine even more there. So I think Ryan has a shot to win the Heisman. I think it comes down to the big games, right? Like, how does he perform against Georgia this season in Athens on the road? I think that's something right there. You can look at how does Ryan perform South Carolina, right, on the road. That matchup means something right there. How does Ryan perform against Auburn on the road? Jordan-Hare, that matchup's going to mean something. How does Ryan perform game 1, Florida State on the road, Tallahassee? That one's going to mean something. And then as far as home games, how does he perform against LSU? Right, because all eyes are going to be on that game in Tuscaloosa. You're trying to get that get back against Tennessee at home. It's always the big games that determine the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, we can all go back to 2015, the year Derrick Henry won, and it was the LSU game because Leonard Fournette garnered all of that conversation, and then he runs up on this Alabama defense, right? And they stonewall him, and Derrick Henry in that game goes off for 210 yards on that LSU defense and just took the Heisman from that moment there on out. So you look at, Bryce Young, 2021. In all of the big games, Bryce Young just goes crazy, numbers-wise, statistics-wise. He ends up getting the Heisman, that season. You look at Mark Ingram, 2009. All of the big games, with the exception of Auburn and the Iron Bowl, but the majority of the big games, Mark Ingram went off. Ends up getting the Heisman there. DeVonta Smith. Now, yes, it came at the expense of Jalen Waddle getting hurt. We all kind of hate that. But still, the big game, Smitty, showed up there. So it always interesting how it's those marquee matchups that end up telling the tale, producing, who ends up getting that Heisman Trophy. But I think for Ryan, he comes up money in these big games and has consistent performances. I think he can get it, Herb. But and you're a wide receiver guy, Herb. So this is your conversation. How do you feel about this? Ryan wants to win the Heisman. DeVonta Smith saying he can get it done. What is your take on this right now?
Man, so I always hate to be the doubter when I say I don't think he can, but it's not from a talent or production standpoint. I think the biggest hindrance to him winning the Heisman will be Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton. You know what I mean? David Hale, just because I've already said I think Alabama can get 2,000-yard wide receivers, and Ryan Williams will be one of that. So it is not going to be any of that. But it's kind of what you mentioned there. DeVonta Smith was helped out a lot by not having Waddle. This offense is going to be stacked and balanced. I think Williams will be your clear leader in the room. And I love the fact, I said it last week, or what did we talk about, that he's working out with DeVonta Smith and saying, look, I know I'm probably one of the most talented guys out here, right? I'm either number 1 or number 2 in wide receivers. I can still get better. So he is on a great track. But if he does not get it, it will be the rest of the Alabama offense that keeps him from getting it, and nothing that he is doing. So I hope people understand that completely. The only thing that's going to slow down Ryan Williams is hopefully, the most balanced offense in college football.
I can see that. I mean, I can really see that because it is one football, and you're trying to feed a whole bunch of people. You're trying to feed Germ. You're trying to feed Isaiah Horton. You're trying to feed Rico Scott. You're trying to feed Lazia Brooks. You mentioned Jalen Hale. There's a lot of mouths to feed there. So it would be a challenge for Ryan Williams. But at the same time, I kind of feel like, man, Bama get down to Florida State. Bama get down to Tallahassee. Yeah. And Ryan just goes off against Florida State, then it becomes very interesting. It becomes very interesting if Bama goes to Tallahassee, Florida, and you're facing a Florida State team that's going to be much improved defensively. They will be. And Ryan Grubb, we'll get to Grubb later on the show, and Grubb finds a way to get the best matchups for Ryan Williams, and Ryan goes off shredding that Florida State secondary, then it becomes, despite all of the talent in that wide receiver room, can Ryan still find a way to finesse a Heisman, even with all the talent in that room? So it's intriguing, man. It's very.
He's got the talent to do it, though, Stephen. He clearly does, and he's got the desire to get better. I love both of those.
He's definitely got the talent to do it. We gonna see, but it was a very interesting conversation because, like I mentioned, you have Ryan and DeVonta Smith working out together, and then over time, the social media group was down there in Tampa, Florida, so they had the chance to catch up with both of them. And they're asking Ryan, you're on the cover now of the EA Sports video game. What are your biggest goals for the season? And Hollywood just goes on and says, hey, I want to win the Heisman. I want to win a national championship. Even DeVonta Smith being right next to him, he's getting directed the question of the current receivers in college football right now, who has the best chance to win the Heisman? And Smitty just goes, hey, Ryan's got the best chance. Ryan Williams is the best chance to win this. And this is even with Ohio State having Jeremiah Smith, who's extremely good. Ohio State's got Smith, but DeVonta Smith still goes, hey, Ryan Williams of the current guys, this guy, best chance there to win the Heisman Trophy. So we'll see. But good conversation piece, right there. The main thing is you just want Ryan to take that step forward as a sophomore, being kind of that leader in the room and stacking strong performances on top of each other. But before we transition here to topic number 2 here, as always, folks, that thing right here on the wall, right here, right next to me, on the right side of me right here, you know what it is. You got to get your hands on the Title Towel. WhitwillSports.com. Click on that. Get you a towel. Thomas Whitaker, Lavelle Wilson, and all those guys. We want to have 100,000 fans screaming, yelling, but waving that towel and twirling it in the air like you just don't care, in support of your Alabama Crimson Tide on Saban Field inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. You go to WhitwillSports.com. You use the promo code STANDARD. Get you a nice little discount there, courtesy of your favorite Bama network, the Bama Standard. We're going to roll through a couple more of these comments, Herb, if we get into conversation number 2 here. We pull up a couple more of these comments, shouting some people out here and are in the show. Jay Walker in here, Roll Tide. Appreciate you, Jay Walker. And then we have Bob Rutherford in here with the RTR and the heart there. Appreciate you, Bob. Jay Walker writes back in. Steven keeps crushing it. Ryan is going to get the following year. So Jay Walker has Ryan Williams getting the Heisman the following year. Not this season, but the following season. So appreciate you, Jay Walker, for that. Latoya Billingsley in here, Roll Tide, Bama family. Appreciate you, Latoya, being a part of the show as always. Continue to get your comments in, people. We're taking questions at the end here of the show, but we now can move to topic 2, and this goes to Alabama's defensive secondary, a deep secondary, a lot of talent. You got some guys back with time on task. You have a Keon Sabb, that's Herb's guy. You have a Bray Hubbard. You have a Damani Jackson. You have a Xavier Brown. You got guys back with time on task. You have guys back that have some experience. You have a Deshaun Jones, Day Jones. You have a Red Morgan who's gotten some playing experience. You have a Zay Mincy who's gotten a little bit of playing experience. So you've got some guys with time on task. You got guys with playing experience, but you also got some young freshmen that are looking to make a serious impact. And one of the freshmen I point out here is Dijon Lee, 5-star from California. This young man is 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan, Herb. This guy's got long hands, long arms, can really move, can get after it quickly, can cover, can bring the wood and hit, can do a lot. Very impressive athlete here. So here's the question. Should he start in the secondary as a boundary corner to present the Tide's defensive secondary with the chance to be scary elite? Is the question. And the only reason why I ask this question, Herbie, is we go back to some freshmen that made Alabama secondary just different, right? The first person I think about is Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah came in 2017 freshman. He was not 2015, my bad, freshman 2015. Minkah wasn't an early enrollee. I think Minkah came in the summer of 2015. But Minkah was so gifted mentally and on the field. Minkah nearly took 2 starting jobs. People forget that. Minkah was battling Tony Brown and Marlon Humphrey and basically nearly beat both guys out. That's how special Minkah was. You couldn't keep him off the field. So Bama put him as a nickel corner, and he just exploded from there. Minkah was just that special. He made the secondary elite. He was just that special. When I look at Dijon Lee, that same type of ability. Now, Lee, taller than Minkah. Dijon Lee a bit more, has a chance to probably be a bit more versatile, though Minkah was extremely versatile. I feel like if you put Lee, Herb, as a boundary corner, so you would have him at 6'4", one cornerback spot. You got Dominic Jackson, 6'1", your other cornerback spot. You could slide Xavier Brown inside to nickel. That'd be crazy, because Xavier had, 2 or 3 interceptions last year himself. You still got Day Jones to work with. You still got Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. to work with. You still got Red Morgan to work with. I mean, Dijon Lee is an outside corner. You can't teach 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan. I'm sorry, you can't teach that type of length. You can't teach that type of size. You can't coach that kind of ability. You can't coach having that kind of length, make up for it with speed, and you're forcing a quarterback to squeeze a perfect ball to beat you. I go back to spring practice. Lee's length disrupted a lot of stuff in spring practice. And when receivers were able to make catches on him, the quarterback had to throw a dime of a dot over long hands and arms to drop it in there. That's hard to do. That's hard to do. So I'm just saying, Herb, I like Xavier Brown. Xavier had a good freshman year. He really did. Made leaps and bounds of growth. But when I see 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan, my imagination goes to, how many interceptions can he get? Like, that's my imagination. I see 6'4" with a 6'8" wingspan. I'm thinking, man, he can pick that ball off. He can pick that ball off. He can probably pick that ball off. Even if he gets burned, he's got some recovery speed. That type of length. I mean, Herb, am I off base here to think Lee should start as a boundary corner?
What I think is going to happen is he's not the starter like in that first game, maybe 2. But to your point, you do not keep him off the field. You saw, like you said, A, there's 2 things at play, right? A, you can't keep a guy that talented off the field. And B, let's be honest, there's a part of let me get freshmen out there so they stay on our team. That's the new new college football, right?
Look, that's the new norm. Let's get these freshmen out there.
Yes,
we can have this roster retention so that these NIL checks can keep hitting.
It is. You know what I mean? So I think I wouldn't be surprised with this coaching staff and what they have to prove. He's not the starter like game 1, game 2. But the playing time is going to be significant. And there's certain positions, wide receiver, running back, DB, where you can shuffle in guys in and out to where your name isn't the starter, but you can get way, as much playing time as you want to make it worthwhile. So I think he's going to get plenty of playing time, and I think he's going to be a star. Like you said, there's certain things you can't teach, and that's what he has.
I mean, you can't teach that kind of size and length.
Yes.
And I understand that we all ask ourselves this question, okay, if you start Dijon Lee, who do you take out of a starting position? I get that. You don't want to take out Damani Jackson because I think Damani is going to be a lockdown guy on his side.
Agreed.
And he's trying to produce a high NFL draft stock. I look at, you're not going to take Bray Hubbard off of his safety spot right now, especially after the way he played last year. In relief of stepping up for an injured Keon Sabb. Keon Sabb is coming back trying to prove that he's healthy from the injury, and he's the Keon Sabb that started last season with 2 interceptions against Western Kentucky prior to the injury. So you look at who would you remove, and I'm not trying to pick on Xavier at all because Xavier had a good season.
Yep.
Throughout the year, but it's just I just look at Dijon.
You've created a headache already for the team, Steven.
I just get Dijon's height, and I'm like, dear Lord, we gotta play this kid. We gotta play this kid because I remember her. I think this was either 2011 or 2012. It was one of those 2 seasons. I think it was 2012. I remember her 2012. Bama had D. Milner. D. Milner was nothing but 5'11" on a good day? And D. Milner that year had 20 pass breakups and 3 picks. And he's shorter than Dijon Lee.
Yep.
So imagine D. Milner, 5'11", 20 pass breakups, 3 picks. But now you got 6'4" Dijon Lee. Imagine the pass breakups and picks for this guy right here. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So
it's gonna be a good year.
So if you're Kane Womack, and if you are Maurice Linguist, the cornerbacks coach, what an opportunity. I'm not going to say problem. What an opportunity you have on your hands right now because of the depth, the amount of bodies in this defensive backroom that you can go with, that you can rotate around. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I mean, if you were to start Dijon Lee, and your starting rotation in the secondary would be Damani Jackson one corner, Dijon Lee the other corner. At Husky, you would have a fight right there because do you start Xavier Brown? Do you start Deshaun Jones? Do you start Red Morgan? You would have a full-on fight right there at Husky. And then your 2 safeties, Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard. Oh my gosh. I mean, if you put Dijon Lee as your other boundary corner, then you would have created a 3 to 4 man competition at Husky. And Kane and Womack's all about competition. But if you were to put Dijon Lee at boundary corner, you would have a 4-man fight because Deshaun Jones would be battling the Husky. Xavier Brown would be battling for Husky. Red Morgan would be battling for Husky. And Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., let's throw him in there too. All 4 of those guys. And that would be must-see practice. That would be must-see Alabama practice. Which one of those 4 would end up taking it? But, I mean, we'll see how Kane Womack goes about divvying this out. We'll see how he goes about this rotation. I just think it's interesting when you look at Lee's height, Lee's size, and then the way that this man can move. Even though he's 6'4", he moves like he's 5'10". Like he's compact, he's quick, he can shift around. He's 6'4", but he moves like he's 5'10". So he can pick him up and put him down. Like the fluidity of his hips, the way he can open and run and then shut it back down and play the football and defend the play, it's big time, Herb. It is big time. So, I mean, the man got experience in spring. So he already has an understanding of, so far, the Kane Womack system. He already so far has a spring understanding of what Maurice Linguist is having him to do as a cornerback. So fall camp's going to be fun, man. August can't get here fast enough. I know we're 89 days away, but fall camp, just to watch this defensive secondary, it cannot get here fast enough. But that was a cool conversation there on one Dijon Lee. Does he start? I would love him to. Want him to be out there. Herb gave his thoughts there. May not start the first game or the second game, but at some point, you are going to see him out there in that rotation. And if we learned anything from year one of the 4-2-5 swarm, Kane Womack's going to play everybody. Everybody is going to get reps. Everybody's going to get reps. Everybody's going to get a good quality amount of reps, in the secondary. He's going to give, guys 10+ snaps. So even if Dijon doesn't start, Lee's going to get snaps. He's going to get reps. Ivan Tango's going to get reps. Chuck McDonald, who's a cornerback coming in here in the summer, he's going to get reps. These guys are going to get opportunities to get out there and play. So I'm excited about that. But cool conversation there on one Dijon Lee. But as always, people, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button right now. Get crazy in the comment section. Leave your comments right here. We're taking your comments. We're taking your questions at the end here on the hottest morning show you're going to find on YouTube, Bama Vision. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, the pilot, Herb the Better Ragsdale, celebrating a birthday on today. So happy to have Herb sharing his birthday with me, with you guys, the fans here on Bama Vision. Appreciate you guys being a part here of the show. And as always, get yourself that title towel back there, whitwillsports.com. Thomas Whitaker and LaBelle Wilson, two outstanding brothers here, 10 toes down behind this product. Wave this towel in the air, twirl it like you just don't care. You're supporting Alabama football. This kicks off the winning mentality if you're an Alabama football fan. And what better way to usher in year two on the field in the fall for Kalen DeBoer? Nothing better than to have 100,000 of you screaming, yelling, cheering, but also having that title towel, waving it around on Saban Field, Bryant-Denny Stadium. How do you get your hands on this towel? Well, first off, you can pull up on Herb. He keeps about 20 of those. You can pull up on Herb. He'll have you a towel. But if you do not have the luxury of pulling up on Herb, you can do this the old-fashioned way. You go to whitwillsports.com. Use the promo code STANDARD. Get yourself a nice little discount courtesy of your favorite Bama network, the Bama Standard. But you might want to just pump on Herb at a game, and he'll give you one out of the backpack there. Is that correct there, Herb?
It is correct. It is correct. I tried to run into somebody in Oklahoma. We didn't run into anybody, but you pull up on me in a game. If you're at Tallahassee and you see me and say, "What's up, Herb?" from Bama Standard or Herb and Rodg podcast, I will always have an extra one for you, for sure. Because you already see one in the background. See probably one in the chair. You got one in the hand. There's always an extra time. Oh, I guess it would help if I did it right. It's my birthday. I'm allowed to make mistakes, right? Do what I want, right? I will always have an extra title towel for you, though. So you pull up on me and mention it, I got you.
All right. So, pull up on Herb, get you a towel. Go to whitwillsports.com, get you a towel today. But we're now going to switch into final topic of conversation. And so this one, Herb, made the late edition. I was going to just do Ron Williams and Dijon Lee and they get to the questions. But before I fell asleep last night, and this is how weird sometimes my mind is. So my wife and I are having a dinner conversation. Shouts out to my wife, Mia. My wife and I are having a dinner conversation. And my wife, she often, a lot, we're sitting there in the room, and she'll look at me and go, "Well, babe, what are your thoughts about dinner right now? Well, what are you trying to have? What are you trying to eat?" And so I'm pondering in the back of my mind, Popeye sound pretty good right now. No, Popeye sounds pretty good. And her response is, "Well, baby, I don't want the steroid chicken. I don't want the chicken. That's all steroids." So I'm like, "Well, baby, they don't inject steroids into the chicken." But she feels like the chicken is on steroids. So then she goes, "Well, babe, how about McDonald's? Let's just get something simple. Let's just get the spicy McChicken sandwich and just call it a day." So I'm like, "All right, we'll go with that then. That's cool. We'll go with that." So in the middle of me planning dinner, the final topic hit my mind. So I'm thinking, okay, McDonald's, Ryan Grubb. Hold on, Ryan Grubb. Okay, how do I plot Ryan Grubb from dinner? Oh, yeah, Ryan Grubb is in here, and he's with DeBoer, and they're getting comfortable, stabilization. And I'm writing all of this stuff down while I'm planning out what I'm going to eat for dinner. So it's amazing how the final topic of our show came from me thinking about dinner. So shouts out to my wife there for helping the final topic come to be in mentioning dinner. So we now can get into Ryan Grubb. So there's been a lot of conversation, and rightfully so, about Grubb being at Alabama now. We all know the story. Nick Saban tried to get him in 2023. He said no. Kalen DeBoer, his best friend, good buddy, tried to get him in 2024 to be at Alabama with him. He said no. Now he has accepted the life preserver. Now he has decided to make his commitment to be the Crimson Tide. And there have been many angles taken on this conversation, right? From how does Grubb, take the offense to the next level? How does Grubb help out with the quarterbacks? How does Grubb balance the offense and having the running backs eat some? How does Grubb make this thing pop for the wide receivers? There's been a lot of conversation. But I think the one thing that really hasn't been broached, Herb, is how does Grubb help DeBoer in terms of stabilizing him? I think the biggest thing behind Ryan Grubb being at Alabama, this stabilizes DeBoer to where there's such a comfortability, there's such a continuity that DeBoer's confidence as a head coach is about to go through the roof, right? There is something special about when you are comfortable with somebody and that there's a continuity factor there. They know your ins and outs. You know their ins and outs. You can pretty much finish each other's sentences. And there's a steady upward trajectory from there. I look at this as Kalen DeBoer can kind of take a step into that CEO mindset to where he doesn't have to really look over and see, is the offense going to work? Is the offense going to work? Do I have to step in and take the offensive play call sheet and call the offense? No, he can take a step back, kind of be that CEO, if you will, because Grubb is so OG in what he does. DeBoer doesn't have to babysit that. And that's a huge sigh of relief for him. And this is no negative connotation to Nick Sheridan. I love Coach Sheridan, right? Very good guy. Very talented dude. Very bright mind. Nick Sharon is not an OG play caller yet. He's not. Will he get there? Maybe at some point in his career, just not now. And we saw last season, Herb, there was a lot of bumps. There were a lot of hiccups in the road. And we as Alabama football consumers were looking at Kalen DeBoer as if to say, what is Sheridan doing? DeBoer, are you going to step in? Are you going to take over? Are you going to call the plays? We don't know what Bama is offensively. There's no identity. There's no foundation. There's not really much of any structure. DeBoer, step in. DeBoer, grab the play call sheet. DeBoer, run the offense. If you're not going to run it, let Jamarcus Shepard do it. What are we right now? A lot of that was going on. And like I mentioned, that this is no shade whatsoever to Nick Sheridan because he does have value. But there was a lot of bumps. There was a lot of confusion. There was chaos. There was every week you turned on Alabama football, you did not know what the foundation was offensively. You didn't know. It was a lot of, well, Milroe, just take off and run with it, right? Take off and run with it. We know you've got gifted feet, gifted legs. You're an athlete. Take off and run with it. And there was not much of a structure. There was not much of a foundation. With Ryan Grubb, right, there's more of a structure. With Ryan Grubb, there is much more of a foundation. With Ryan Grubb, you know exactly what you're getting. Kalen DeBoer does not have to worry about, do I need to step in? Do I need to interject? Do I need to grab the play call sheet? No. Grubb's my guy. I trust him. He knows what I like. I know what he likes to do as well. He's been around me at 3 different coaching stops. We know how this works together. That is big comfortability, continuity, and that's going to cause confidence to soar, not just for Grubb, but for DeBoer as well, because DeBoer doesn't have to look over Grubb's shoulders. He can hand this thing over to Grubb, and Grubb can just take over. It kind of reminds me of, remember people when Jim McElwain first got to Alabama as the offensive coordinator in 2008, and Coach Saban was kind of like, who is this guy, this McElwain? I don't know who this guy is. And, Saban was kind of nervous a little bit at first, but once he figured out, hey, McElwain know what he's doing, Saban let McElwain do his thing. And what happened? McElwain got better, got more comfortable. You got 2 national championships with Jim McElwain, 2009 and 2011. You look at, as crazy as Lane Kiffin was, and Kiffin was crazy, Saban got at Kiffin for a lot of off-field stuff. When it came to on-field, Saban knew Kiffin know what he's doing. When you got an OC that's doing this before the play is even done, he know what he's doing. Like, Saban knew Kiffin know what he's doing on the field. Saban said, hey, you run this offense. I ain't looking over your shoulder. I ain't babying you. You know what you're doing. Steve Sarkisian. Saban never had to question Sark. Saban wasn't looking over Sark's shoulder. Saban was like, you Sark, you know offense, right? Call it. Right? So it's the same thing here. Last year, I just felt like it was a lot of bumps in the road, and DeBoer kind of concerned, is this the right play call, Sheridan? Are you sure you know what you're doing? You sure you know what you putting out on the field? I feel like with Ryan Grubb, that's not going to happen. And DeBoer is going to be able to exhale. I'm a CEO. I'm the overarching theme. I can run this. And I have my guy Grubb, even though I'm an offensive mind as a head coach, I got my guy Grubb calling this whole thing because I know that he knows what he's doing. Herb, that to me is the biggest thing. The stabilization of DeBoer having Grubb in here.
No, I agree. And look, last year there, you can debate, right? Was it a bad fit for Milroe? Was Sheridan doing the job? Whatever, right? When Milroe leaves, if you have 100% confidence in Sheridan, you don't make a change, right? Milroe leaves, and they still made the call to Grubb. The second time they tried to get Grubb, and then the third time overall because Saban wanted Grubb. That tells you a lot about the faith they put in him and the change they needed to make in a very, very critical year for Alabama and for DeBoer. That tells me everything I need to know about Grubb. They said, hey, we need you here to make this work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, it's the stability factor. With Grubb in here, DeBoer feels like I can breathe. I got my guy to run this offense. I don't have to worry about, are we going to score? Are we going to be balanced? Are we going to do what we need to do? No, I got Ryan Grubb in here. I know we are going to do what we need to do. And it's just like you're working for a Fortune 500 company. You got an employee that you know he is going to do his role and he is going to come into work every day and provide what's needed. Then that employer is like, I don't got to worry about Johnny because I know Johnny going to come in here, Johnny going to clock in, and Johnny going to put in that work. I don't got to worry about when it's break time, is Johnny going to run to his car and drive to Costco and we ain't going to see Johnny no more. No. Johnny is not going to do that. He's going to be about the business. He's going to be about the work. Same thing with DeBoer here. DeBoer knows, hey, we're going to have the absolute best play calling in all facets with Ryan Grubb. The one question we are all going to have is, what type of statement will Grubb make game one against Florida State, right? That's the one question we're all kind of asking ourselves. When we get to the regular season and Bama's in Tallahassee and they're taking on the Seminoles, what type of tone is Grubb going to set? What will be the first play that he calls? Does Alabama jump out to an early lead? Do we see a lot of different looks and scheme and formation that really excites because it will produce? That's the only question we have to ask is what is the tone setting or the tone setter that Grubb will try to do or Grubb intends to make week one here against Florida State. Now, me personally, I would like to see him, open up, setting up that run game. Absolutely want to see that happen. But if Grubb goes out there and his first play call, Herb, is 4 wide receiver set, and it's a slant and go route to Jeremy Bernard for a touchdown. I'm like, oh, all right, Grubb, we see you pulling punches out the gate. So it's gonna be interesting to see just how does he set that tone his first game as Alabama's offensive coordinator. Boy, that's gonna be fun to watch that. But as always, people, we appreciate you guys checking out the show here. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Be involved in the chat line, be involved with your questions. We're getting to those here in just a moment here to wrap up the show. As always, check out whitwillsports.com, Title Towel. Get you a towel today. Have those things going. 100,000 strong inside Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saban Field in the fall here. If you use the promo code STANDARD and you go to whitwillsports.com, you get you a nice little discount there, courtesy of your favorite Bama network, the Bama Standard. But as always, you can pull up on the birthday man, Herbo, to get you a title towel as well. Herbo, who's celebrating his 22nd birthday today. So happy 22nd there to Herbo. But we now get into your questions here. Q&A. Best part of the show here. We're going to roll these questions up here, Herb. So let's get these up here from our fans. And the first one is Rodg. We got Rodg in the building. Rodg goes, surprisingly, I agree with that Herb guy. Ryan will put up good numbers, but our offense will be loaded. He will get the Heisman in his junior year. So Rodg looks at Ryan Williams getting the Heisman in 2026. I can see it. I mean, it'll be interesting if he pulls it out this year, but Herb, like you stated, there's so many good receivers in this room. It's going to be hard for him to kind of just take it all in 1 year. So if not this year, definitely the junior year, Ryan Williams should get that. But appreciate Rodg for his thoughts there. Ricky writes in, where do you think the offense and defense end up ranked at the end of the year? That's going to be the story here, Ricky. Ryan Grubb's going to have this offense be among the top 3 to 5 in the country, if not number 1. Kane Womack got to have this defense ranked between top 3 and top 5 in the country, if not number 1. We will see how it starts off against Florida State. On paper, this should be a top 3 to top 5 offense and defense. It should be on paper. But we'll see once Bama pulls up on Florida State how the season is going to go. Appreciate Ricky there for his thoughts there. We got Rodg is back. Rodg, where exactly is Bach on the Alabama depth chart? So Jalen and Bakwe. Bach on the depth chart at wide receiver. He is in that rotation. If I had to put a number on it, I know he's not in the top 4. I know he's in the top 7 or 8. He's in the top 7 or 8. If I had to list my top 4, it would be Ryan Williams, Germinator, Isaiah Horton, and it's a battle between Brooks and Rico Scott for that 4th spot. I see Bach as probably 7 or 8. Herb, what do you see in Bakwe?
Specifically a wide receiver, man. 8 sounds about right, because like you already mentioned your top 3 or 4. You already know your top 3 with Horton.
I wouldn't have him in the top 3 or 4 because the top 3 or 4 to me, like I said, Ryan Williams, Germ. Isaiah Horton is 3. Yeah. And then 4th, like I said, Lancia Brooks and Rico Scott can battle for that 4th spot.
Yeah, but also Hale, so that gets you all the way up to 7.
The only thing I want with Hale is he because I know physically he's back. Physically he's back. I just want to see in a game, is he all the way back? Because if he's all the way back, then you got to have him in there too. It's hard, and that's why.
You didn't mention Cole Adams either, though. That slides you down a little bit too.
Cole Adams is in there, and that's why for Bach it's hard because he was actually growing at corner.
Yes,
I think he should have stayed there.
Yes,
he was actually growing as a DB. I think he should have stayed there because it's made it harder on him as a wide receiver. It's made it harder with the depth in that room. And I've mentioned this before, the coaching staff could convince him, you're still young. Yes. You're still growing in a finite position for yourself.
Yes.
If you want to remain at receiver, cool, right? You may have to wait because after
There's
this
more
season,
opportunity next year.
Yeah, it gets you opportunity next year. You would have to just settle in as a return specialist right now. And if Bach's okay with that, more power to him. If he's okay with that. But when he took the move to move from corner to wide receiver, it made it tougher on him.
Yes.
That's all I can say. Not saying he can't do it. He's an electric athlete. Bach is. But making that move made it tough on him. But appreciate Raj there for that question. We'll continue with more right here. We got Kenneth writing in, recap recruiting weekend. That had a major recruiting weekend last week. So many guys were on campus, and Kalen DeBoer is showing everybody he can recruit, y'all. Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, and this staff can recruit. When you look at having Sadarian Morgan on campus, the Johnson kid at linebacker, the Jet kid at defensive back, you got a lot of guys visiting Alabama because they understand this is a season where if Bama can show it's still the Crimson Tide program, even without Coach Saban, and I'm saying if Bama can show this by getting to the college football playoff, if it wins the SEC title, that's great. But if Bama can get to the college football playoff and make a run in the playoff, that will show recruits Bama is still Alabama football, even with Coach Saban transitioned fully to TV. But last week was a very strong recruiting weekend with guys on campus. Appreciate Kennedy there for his thoughts there. We roll up the next question here, Herb. Rodg again. Do you see Castellanos giving Bama's defense any fits game one? He could try to, especially with Gus Malzahn calling the plays for Florida State. Gus is going to throw everything at Bama. Gus is going to throw everything offensively at Alabama football. So the main thing for Bama's defense, especially Kane Womack in this game, is what's going to be your tone setter against Florida State's offense. Like, how does Kane Womack set the tone early in terms of affecting Florida State, putting them in unfavorable situations, getting them behind the down and distance consistently, and just really taking Gus Malzahn out of his play calling rhythm? That's going to be the big thing there. Can Kane Womack do that in this 4-2-5? That's the question. Taking Gus Malzahn out of his play calling rhythm. But Castellanos at quarterback, he's going to try to give you some fits, but it all stems off of the scheme of how Malzahn wants to play him against Alabama week one. Appreciate Rodg being active there in the chat line. We got Kennedy here. Cole Adams as returner. Cole Adams was your punt returner last year prior to him getting hurt. I think he'll have a role as either a punt returner or a kickoff returner this season. He's got secure hands. He's tough as nails. Guy's tough. Guy rarely wants to make a fair catch. He wants to catch the ball and just go. So, and then Cole also had some good moments at wide receiver once again prior to the injury. So we'll see what Cole does this year, but definitely as a returner, he's right there in line for that. And then Jeremy Sanders writes in, Grubb won't use our running back room as blockers for 80% of the season like Sheridan. Yes, Sheridan did have our running backs as more so blockers, but I think Ryan Grubb will utilize them getting the ball in their hands, running the football, catching the football out the backfield. He'll use a lot of those guys in the rotation to get the production that they need. So I'm excited to see what Grubb here does for this offense. Appreciate Jeremy Sanders getting his thoughts in here on the show. We go back to Kennedy. What would y'all do if they go out there and start running the quarterback all over the place? After this, Kalen DeBoer mentioned, going back to the Regions Pro AM golf tournament, this quarterback room is more so of the same than different. Ty Simpson can run. He's athletic, but he's more so of a pure passer. Keelan Russell, he can run. He's athletic, but he's more so of a pure passer. Austin Mack can run. He's athletic. He's more so of a passer. So these quarterbacks are more alike than different. So I don't see this coaching staff just running the quarterback all over the place. I think Jalen Milroe just had a different skill set. His skill set was more so built in on, I can pass it, but I'm a threat running the football. Versus these other guys, they can run it, but they love to dot you up more so. So I think that's the biggest difference. You have more of a quarterback room that wants to dot you up And because of that, I feel the running backs will get more say. They'll get more opportunities on the field. But appreciate our fans here in that Q&A, giving us their thoughts here on the show. That's going to wrap us up here on Bama Vision. Appreciate all of you guys being a part here of the conversation on a Monday. You can always follow myself here on the Twitter X or X Twitter at Coaching M Smith. It's right there on the screen, Coaching M Smith on social media. And you can follow me right here on the Bama Standard Network on Monday mornings, Bama Vision, 9 a.m. with the pilot man Herbo right there. And also find me Sunday night talking Bama, JB, JT, and Herb. You can also find me on this network writing articles as well. I appreciate all of you guys for the love and the support there. Herb, where can people find you at?
It's like you said, Sunday nights, talking Bama with those fine gentlemen, and then turning right back around Bama Vision Monday morning. So we really get your week started off right with those two shows. Then Tuesday nights, Herb and Rodg podcast. You see Rodg in there asking some questions. And today might be the only day of the year he talks good about me, or today and tomorrow, I guess, might be the only two times he compliments me. So definitely tune in for those shows tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, also streaming on the Bama Standard Network.
Absolutely. And folks, as always, we got several shows throughout the week for your viewing pleasure. So you get plugged in the Bama Standard Network. You get all of the shows, all of the content you want on your Crimson Tide. But till next time, folks, you guys be good. You guys be blessed. Herbo, enjoy your birthday. And as always, people, roll Tide.